Howdy, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Card Blitz. This is episode 44. I'm your host, Kelly Reed, joined by my good friend, John Sermon. John, how's it going, man?
It's going good, Kelly. How are you?
Good, good. It's a football Sunday. Baseball apparently closed a chapter last night. Did you have a chance to catch that game?
I didn't watch the games. I'm just one of those people. If my team's not in it, then I
It's not
don't
your
really
thing.
watch. No.
Well, okay.
With the YouTube, we can go watch highlights of past World Series, like 2011 or something is what I would do.
You're just taking the dagger and twisting it, man, being a Rangers fan.
Oh,
But, it's all good, man. Hey, Rangers finally got one. I think you've got more than I can count on one hand. So I think you're good to go, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Well, hey, man, certainly appreciate you being here. I'm excited to talk cards with you. If you don't mind, can you do your signature intro? Because that always cracks me up.
Uh, what's a happening, nerds?
What's a happening? Well, man, you want to start off with like a little show and tell and show off a couple of cards you've got?
Yeah, so I think the conversation is going to like dominate around baseball. So I figure I'd start off with some football cards. I know you're a football guy.
Oh, love
Uh,
football, man.
but Kurt Warner rookie card,
Dude, that is
and
sweet.
being a St. Louis guy, like I remember when the Greatest Show on Turf popped off.
Hmm.
I mean that kind of season cannot be recreated. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. I mean, they made a movie into it almost, so
Well, yeah, no,
but
man, with
those
Isaac Holt or Isaac the Bruce and Torrey Holt and yeah, Kurt Warner and Marshall Falk. That was a special offense. And then Dick Vermeil, man, very passionate coach. And yeah, I'm sure
oh
that
yeah.
St. Louis, man, y'all were just like enthralled and enamored in the moment there.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when they moved to St. Louis in '95. My grandmother took me to a training camp. Isaac Bruce is my favorite player of all time. But yeah, when Trent Green went down and Dick Vermeil is doing his press conference, he's like, we will rally around Kurt Warner and we will play good football. And then I
Took
mean,
off.
it was absolutely amazing. So that's why I brought out this card.
Dude, and Pacific, man, that is a card company from the 90s, and I'm sure part of your youth. And uh,
Oh yeah,
I've got one for myself to show off later on, too.
awesome. Yeah,
Well, yeah, here, let me show you. I'll just go ahead and just
yeah,
get into it, man, because I just completed this last Chipper Jones Pacific card here. That completes that set for me. I'm a big set builder. And so to finally complete that set with this Chipper Jones card from 98, oh, man, it makes me happy.
yeah. I remember those Crown Royal cards. They would come out every year. They're all die cut and
So
it,
innovative back then,
yeah.
too, John, man. I mean, I just was like wowed by him and just to have it and just look through those cards, just the memories, man. It's a great feeling.
And it's like nowadays, like there's because I was a kid back then, and there's so many more than you knew what was actually out there. With the serial prints and all that stuff that
So
you
many
find out later.
manufacturers and brands and yeah, different inserts. So, like I said, to me, that's a special time in the hobby, the mid to late 90s.
Yeah, we go back to like Isaac Bruce. It was like I want to collect more of his cards like now, to have more football in my collection. And I've honestly thought about going after his Pacific cards rather than like a run or the most expensive, but like the Pacific brand.
Right.
And I don't know why, but I think they're cool cards.
Oh, definitely, man. Kramer, he had it going on up there in the Northwest.
Yeah.
You got
Um,
another card you want to show off real quick?
yeah, I'll go with another football card, the guy that everybody loves to hate these days. And like I said, I was a Rams fan when they moved away the way that they did. I just couldn't be a fan of theirs no more. 2016, so it was January of 16 when the vote happened and
Hmm.
they moved away. That was also the same year I made Chief in the Coast Guard, so I was like, oh well, I'm gonna be a Chiefs fan. And we got Travis Kelsey right here,
Oh, yeah. How about that?
uh, a rookie card of his. I bought this when he was a nobody.
Just starting
uh,
out.
yeah, he was like in his third or fourth year in the league when I bought this card. So he had a couple of nice seasons with Alex Smith as a quarterback, and things like that, but nothing like spectacular or anything. But he's gone on to become uh, arguably one of the greatest tight ends in NFL history. Although the game has changed so much, right? You go from like Jackie Smith to Kellen Winslow to what
Yeah,
was the guy's name? Oh man, this is really embarrassing, but he was
it's good.
a I think the Saints tight end, and then that's when it really started to pop off. Like, hey, is he a tight end? Is he a wide receiver because of the salaries? And
Right, right.
Graham was his name, I think. But the game has evolved so much, so it's really hard to compare eras. Say one guy is the best, or this is the best, or things like that in my mind. But he's one of the greats, so definitely for the Chiefs.
Oh, well, that and his fiery personality and sideline antics with Coach Reed, it's greatness, man. And apparently, he's engaged to someone kind of famous, and his
Yeah, a
will
little
keep
bit.
going too now.
Yeah, my daughter's a huge Swift fan, and I remember when that like happened. What was it, a couple years ago or something like that? I couldn't believe it. I was like, of all the players, it had to be him. Whatever.
Hey, my daughter, she's a big Taylor Swift fan too. So I think that genre of music and the youth of America and the younger kids, hey, it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna show off this card for you, man, because I know you're a big Ozzie Smith fan.
Oh
And
yeah.
in my wheelhouse in 1996,
Oh
Stadium
yeah. The
Club. Don't know if you've seen this one before, this insert, but I
Yep.
love like reading the back of it, the etymology of the wizard.
Yeah. The because that's the Mega Heroes card, and then there's
Yeah.
a members only variant too, and that one was quite difficult to find.
Huh. Well, I just thought, man, the whole etymology and how prophetic it was when it came up, and for them to sit there and give him that moniker,
Yep.
and then he's what, like three World Series with the Cardinals?
Went to three, one
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, but still,
Yep.
he got there, and
Oh
that
yeah.
speaks volumes of like his skill set. And then, like him coming on the field and doing his antics, it's just it's lore and it's baseball and it's greatness.
Oh yeah. Ozzie Smith is my all-time favorite guy.
Well, that's why I found it for you, man. I was like going through my cards last night, and I was like, hey, I bet John's gonna appreciate
Yeah.
this wizard card.
Yeah, those early to mid 90s cards were so cool. They had so many cool like themes,
Hmm.
such as that it's a lot of fun because like they we know like baseball card stats on the back,
Right.
and that's how like a lot of us learn to the players, remember the players. But then a lot of those insert cards like you have, with like the description on the back are I think are fun to read these days.
Oh,
So
definitely.
especially because it was in the moment.
Hmm.
It wasn't a lot of the the more modern sets of retired players. It's all like hindsight, but a lot of those cards, especially playing days ones, it's in the moment, and I think those are a lot of fun to read.
Oh, definitely, man. How about you? Do you have a third card, or should I show my third card? What are you thinking?
Uh, I only brought out two. Um, I would I would say go with your third card.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, no, it's cool, man. I just figured two or three cards. Third card, and again, thinking of you and this whole Cardinals theme. And one of my favorites back in the late '90s was this guy here. Don't know if,
No, Big Mac.
oh, definitely, man. And this Hollow FX card, and I just the way that they, like you said, they designed these cards back in the day, like we look at it now, we're like, oh, what variant is it? Hey, what is it number two? And it's like, it was just the design. Like, they were so
Yeah.
creative. And I'm like, just appreciate the art for what it is. Sure, not the most expensive cards that I'm showing off, but they're affordable and they're collector kind of pieces. And you got to have a well-rounded collection. It's not just high end, you can have everything in between. And
Oh yeah.
I enjoy looking at cards.
Oh yeah. I mean, like some of the cheaper stuff is awesome to look at too. And if you go back into that time, except for like the PMG essential credential, like the very well known stuff, if you find like non Hall of Famers, or people that aren't highly collectible, it's like McGuire and Bonds, they're highly collectible, but not in the Hall of Fame. But you can find some like really cool cards of players that you watched play.
Hmm.
I think of like Ray Langford, for example. You can find cards of like high end stuff, but it doesn't cost a lot that are really cool to look at, like design wise.
Right. As a Texas Rangers fan, Nolan Ryan's gonna be expensive. Uh,
Yep.
Probably some of the Pedro Rodriguez stuff, but maybe Juan Gonzalez. He's like that next tier down. Like great player, not in the Hall, lots of home runs, but he's in a lot of those sets from the mid and late '90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, hey, tell me a little bit for the viewers of CardBlitz that aren't familiar with you and your channel. Tell us a little bit about your journey and then why you started nerding out with cards.
All right. So, I've been collecting cards since, I mean, what I can remember is since I was about seven. For me, that was in '92. You hear a lot of people like talk about the card sets of the '80s, and I came a little bit later. And I would just say that I've been collecting cards like since then.
Hmm.
Like there's times where you're more active or whatever, but for me, it just comes from like motivation or something. But I've been collecting them since I was seven. I remember going to a ball game with my dad, my grandfather, my cousin, and we were walking around the ballpark before the game and met Ozzie Smith. And ever since then, he's been my favorite player.
Hmm.
And but that was more towards like the tail end of his career. And I remember '96 being like a big season. My grandmother was sending me newspapers, recording games on VHS and sending them to me because my dad was stationed in Norfolk at the time. And that was Ozzy's last year. All this stuff was going on, but I was already big into cards at that point. I had like 100 Ozzy Smith cards. Thought that was a big deal. Um, but then, you know, I've been more of like a player collector. So like Isaac Bruce was my guy. There for a while, Brett Hull until he left. And which I mean, are you a hockey fan?
I mean, only when the Stars are in the cup.
Well,
But
then there you
like
go. So
like my little brother, he gets season tickets with his wife, and they've watched the Stars for several years. And like I said, I was over in Taiwan in like the late '90s, so
okay,
I got to see CNN highlights of the cup. But so yeah, I mean, sure Dallas Stars, but only when I guess like I said,
okay,
their playoff season. But you and I guess you follow hockey. You remember
yeah.
that, so.
Yeah, so anyway, Brett Hull, with his he won the cup with y'all. Like Al McInnes and things like that. So I've kind of collected like that this whole time. But one of the things is 2005, I joined the Coast Guard, and so for the last 20 years, I've been just moving around, and it's hard to remember kind of thing. But before the whole COVID boom and all this other stuff, it's not like you can go around and find card shops everywhere. Like you can, it seems like these days again, right? Um, so trying to find cards, like card shows has never been a big thing for me. I remember 2003 when I found eBay,
Hmm.
like that was a big deal. So um, but I just kind of mostly focused collecting on Ozzie Smith. I'm a big like super collector of Ozzie Smith. I have 81 cards now of him. It's all his playing days though. So I don't collect any of the post playing days of him anymore. Um, but then so that's really kind of my collecting. Very St. Louis centric type of collector, mostly a player collector. Um, and so that's that. I guess a pretty good synopsis of it. I
I
don't
was
know.
going to ask, in regards to like Ozzie Smith, do you utilize like tools like trading card database to like keep a checklist of what's out there and what you already have so that you're not like buying doubles or triples of cards and going, oh, snap, I already got this one. Should have
Yeah,
done that.
yeah. So it was like 2.5 years ago. I really buckled down and made a checklist. And so what I did was I started off with the PSA Master Set checklist that they have, but that was like really easy to transpose, copy and paste onto an Excel spreadsheet.
Right?
But then going through it, there was a ton of cards that I had that weren't on there.
That's
And it's like, oh,
interesting.
I was like, okay. Then I went to trading card database because I had learned of that, and I just went through page by page, and I was adding stuff to the checklist that wasn't on there, and this took a good while.
Well,
But
yeah, you've got your own inventory looking, cross-referencing with their inventory and going, hey,
yeah,
add this, take that one out, add this. Yeah.
yeah. So it, oh shoot, I used to know this, but I think for the PSA set there was like 700 something cards. That checklist has grown now to 908 cards, of which I have like the 880 of them, but the remaining ones are they're hard to find. But
Are they more
I
like the
also
the regional ones or the food-based ones? Is that why they're difficult to find?
no, actually the most of them are from 96, so you get into the super high end
Oh,
uh,
okay. They're super
inserts.
rare, limited availability kind of
Yeah.
cards. All right.
But yeah, I also like made my own rules to it. I don't know if you remember the those Topps mini cards that had the stickers on the back in the late 80s.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so you'd have like the Ozzie Smith card, and on the back of it there'd be stickers on the back.
Hmm.
But his card would come with different sets of stickers.
So you got all these variants of stickers.
I don't collect those variants, for example. There's like the Kraft mac and cheese boxes that had the cards on it.
Right.
Um, and Ozzie Smith became was paired with several different players, and so there's the Ozzie card, there's the him and Harold Baines, there's a him and whoever else, right? And on a trading card database, those count as different. Whereas I don't, I just want the Ozzie card. That's it.
I think so. You're more like the type set. Like I've got the one I need as a reference. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
guess that's a good way to describe it.
that's cool. Well, tell us about your channel. Like, obviously you've been collecting over the years. Why did you start a YouTube channel, and what are some of the joys that you've experienced through this channel?
Yeah, so I don't remember why I started watching card content on the YouTube, but a handful of years ago I did. I think it was around that time that I was making that checklist, and I don't know, I was we were in a dry dock at the time, so I'm in a hotel, brand new to a unit. I don't know anybody, so I just kind of holed up into a hotel room when I wasn't at work, and so then I was just like, oh, like there's not there's not enough Cardinals cards on the YouTube. That's I remember thinking that. Um, But that was also around the time that Greg over at Midlife Cards started his channel. Theo Clemente Collector started his channel. So it's kind of like that time frame, right?
Was it
For
right
people.
after the COVID era? Are you talking like
I
21, 22, or
I think it was 22 when they
pre-COVID?
started up. No, I
Okay.
think it was yeah, I think it was 22 when they started up. But then so I'm buying cards because I was able to come up in my mind like types of cards I wanted to collect because like I said, with Ozzie Smith, it was becoming more and more difficult. So it's like, well, if I still want to collect cards, then um, I need to think of other things, right? And but so Greg had started this thing where you could submit a picture of a card for the monthly show and tell thing that he does,
Right.
and so I started doing that, and then I was just like, well, yeah, I can get on here and talk about baseball cards too.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking, and like I said, it's you see a lot of people it's the post-war Hall of Famers, it's the all-time greats, things like that. But like I said, definitely not enough Cardinals. So it's like, well, when I retire from the Coast Guard, I'll start a channel. And um, I accelerated that timeline by starting up this past April, just because I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it.
Hmm.
And so I did it. There really hasn't been any sort of like format to it. It's just been kind of like I want to talk about this, or I want to talk about that, or I want to show this, or I pick up that, and that's kind of what I've done to this point. Gave some background on like things I collect, players I collect, why I collect them. Like Willie McGee, Bob Feller, obviously Ozzie Smith. Talked about like childhood heroes here and there, but that's really what I've done so far. And it's just because it's the same old thing, right? Uh, you don't have any like real life friends to collect with, so then you go and find a different avenue to talk about your baseball cards, play with them, and what have you. So that's really why I kind of did it. And I would say it's been enjoyable for sure. Um, there are things like unexpected, I would say, pops up, like somebody dislikes your video. It's like, well, why did you dislike it? Or what is there to dislike? It's Yadier Molina. But anyway,
Maybe it's not you, it's Yachty or Molina that they don't like.
um, yeah, and I would say is one of the things that you see is you see like the bromances pop up is kind of how I describe it. So the card immunity and what have you. I would say I don't really have a good judge on that just because of my living circumstances at this time, which is about to change. So we'll see kind of how that evolves.
Hmm.
Um, for me, that it's been mostly like there's certain channels that I think we've kind of connected, where they'll like people will comment on my stuff, I'll comment on their stuff, and that's kind of where it's at this point. Here lately, there's been more of like exchange of like phone numbers like between you and I, and so there's a little bit more communication that way. But I'm kind of hoping to be more part of that. Get those hobby friends, like you hear people talk about more so when I have a more stable situation.
Well, kind of segueing into that topic of you know, growing your hobby network. I'm based here in Dallas, and so there's a large card community here. Lots of card
Mhm.
shows every weekend. Fortunately, through the internet, we can connect that way. But I do remember like when I lived in Taiwan and there weren't a lot of card collectors, and so you're kind of like in this isolated world. Not only you're
Mhm.
not in your own in the United States, you're in a different country, and you're trying to collect cards and enjoy the hobby. And this was late '90s; the internet was just starting. But
Yep.
getting to what you were saying, though, it's like, how do you grow? Because you've been stationed around the U.S., correct?
So I did a tour in the Middle East for a year, but predominantly the United States.
So yeah.
Uh,
So how do you grow your hobby network, and how do you connect with other collectors? Like when you've been stationed at different bases throughout the U.S. or uh, even overseas.
you don't. At least I didn't. That's kind of where this YouTube comes into play. I mean, I did meet a guy in Florida, but he's a much different collector than I am. So it's very that was very different. But it's also one of those things too where you didn't talk about this kind of stuff at work for sure, and that's kind of where the nerding out from cards comes from, or out with cards is, you'd be called a nerd if you collected cards or something. You did like this kind of dorky stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Not mainstream
Nowadays,
hobbies like fishing or whatever else is out there, right? You're like, hey,
yeah,
I'm
yeah, you're like,
pictures of grown men on cardboard. They're like, what's wrong with you, man?
yeah. I mean, I guess it'd be like a chauvinistic kind of thing, but yeah, working on cars, hunting, and things like that. It's uh, what people mostly did talked about. Like nobody really talked about like hobbies like that. Um, But if you did, you'd be called a nerd, and what have you. Whereas like these days, it's quite different. There's guys on the boat that play Dungeons and Dragons, and there's ones that play Pokemon. There's ones that play video games, and it's I mean it's just different these days.
Right.
But
Then 20 years
um,
ago or 15 years ago, society's changed a little bit over that time frame, right?
yeah, the when I was in New Jersey, Cape May, New Jersey, I didn't know about card shows in Philadelphia. I didn't. There wasn't any card shops near Cape May. Um, when I was stationed in Iowa, there was a card shop there, but it was you're getting into like Cubs country, so that's mostly what they sold. Yeah, when I was stationed in St. Louis, I had my LCS, but uh, really that was just kind of it. Um, I'm here in Seattle now, and but I don't have a car here, so I can't go out to the card shop. There was a show in Tacoma I couldn't go to. So it's just more difficult. I think the YouTube is like the route. I think
Okay.
that to better do that moving forward.
Do you do much like social media wise, perhaps Instagram or Facebook or Twitter to kind of network a little bit more?
I've never really done the Instagram thing. Facebook, I've been a part of some groups that I'm not a part of anymore. There's two that I still am. One is a very St. Louis centric group,
Hmm.
um, but I've been quite inactive there since I started the YouTube because I just forget to post pictures of like cards that I pick up. But that group is also more about the ultra modern stuff. So like when you see Dylan Carlson bomb, they're trying to sell off everything that they were accumulating. Um, and then there's an Ozzie Smith one, but that's more just like, hey, I got this new Ozzie Smith card, or asking questions like, do you have you ever heard of this card kind of thing? And there's prolific collectors in there, so they're a really good resource to like ask questions to, but um, not so much like buying, selling, trading, or anything like that.
Or
Really,
just conversation, right? Like to me,
yeah,
that's the big joy of the hobby is meeting folks and learning, just talking and learning the people's experiences and what they're into.
yeah,
Do you think you said that you will retire, correct, from the Coast Guard soon?
yeah. So I'll be going back to St. Louis. That's where I'm gonna settle down at here really soon. And then January 15th is when I can stop shaving my face because I can't wait to do that. And then April
You're
30th
gonna
is,
get the full growth going.
oh yeah, I'm gonna go Duck Dynasty. I can't wait. But uh
The evolution
um
of John Servant here. It'd be
um
greatness, man.
April 30th will be my last day on active duty.
Okay. Well, and you said you want to settle down in the St. Louis area. Um, I mean, I know of a couple of YouTube channels where folks are based out of Missouri, and I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of the same folks. But
Yep.
I hope that you're able to kind of grow that in-person network and go to those card shows and kind of build up that rapport as well. I think that'll be good. Um, and obviously, if you make it down to Dallas. My house is your house, and if I make it up there, I'd like to come and hang out with you and just talk cards, watch sports, maybe measure the growth of the new facial hair. That'll be good. We'll make a YouTube on that with the tape measure and see how that's going.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I've never carved out time for card shows. So, and obviously I got to get used to getting the swing of things down there, but it'll be it'll be something different. Like I said, car shows have never really been my thing. I've been to a few of them. I actually met Joe, Redneck Collector, at one. They have one every month, so definitely try to get into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he was one of the guys I was thinking of. Also, Chris from Missouri, he's well
Yep.
known. Billy Ballgame, are you familiar with his channel?
Yep.
So, and then what is it? Jayhawker Mike, I think is his name. I think
Yeah.
that's another
Yeah.
Missouri fan.
He's over in Kansas. He got Ross Loves Cards. And then you got some guys that are in Indiana, like Diamond Gems 45, and so I mean, there's a bunch around the region. Like it was just what last month. They all met up at a card show. There at Westport Plaza. I don't know. They all had a bunch of videos on it.
Yeah, it'd be cool, man, if you could partake and kind of network there and kind of grow your hobby relationships as well. And I'd like to do the same thing here in Dallas, try to keep growing the network down here because that's part of the joys of this hobby is like fellowship and enjoying cards and growing your collection and helping others, kind of serving
Yep.
that need in the hobby, helping others grow their collections as well.
Yeah, and Joe's he's a part of this group that's like a non-social media group. They're predominantly vintage. But like that kind of group you won't find on Instagram or YouTube. It's a more of a homegrown thing. So
Kind of an
trying to get
invite
involved in
only
that.
non-social media.
Yeah. They got a website.
Well, yeah, well, we'll definitely catch up on that. We're kind of running up against it, so I was going to ask if you had like a couple of favorite Cardinals cards you wanted to show off and kind of tell the story about those cards before we wrap it up.
Yeah, well, since we get that time, uh one of my favorite, I've showed this on my channel, but it's this card right here.
Oh
And
man,
it looks like
John
a
and
1980,
Ozzy.
yeah, it looks like a 1985 card. because that's the year I was born. But it was right before I started my YouTube channel, and like I said, just kind of being a nerd with my cards and everything. Uh, I just happened to be on leave when they were opening they call it the Rawlings Experience in St. Louis. It's where Rawlings is headquartered out of. And so it's this grand opening. Ozzie Smith was going to be there. And like I say, he's my all time favorite guy. And I was just like, well, I'm just going to go be a dork and I'm going to get a picture with him. And so it's like, but how can I make it special kind of thing? And what I did was I brought my binder of Ozzie Smith cards and got my picture taken with him with it.
Right.
Uh, so I thought that was just like it was probably one of the coolest things. Like the workers there, they were like, he's not doing autographs. He's not doing autographs. And I was like, I don't want an autograph. I just want a picture. And this in my opinion is just way cooler than an autograph anyway.
Is that a
Uh,
custom card made by like Rawlings, or is that something you did
no,
yourself? Or
I one of the ladies, because I was there by myself, took my phone and snapped a couple pictures, and then I just went on to Etsy and found a custom card maker and had a card made of it.
a one of one?
Yeah.
Man, I was gonna say, if you
um,
ever get any more made, definitely send one my way, man. I want the autographed John Sermon edition because that is cool. That is so cool.
yeah, it is unfortunate. I actually got to meet Ozzy one time after this, and again, it was just by chance and whatnot. But this card was in Seattle when I was in St. Louis, and I would have had him autograph it, but oh well. But no, that was
That's
that
a
was
great
like probably
story,
the
man.
yeah one of the coolest hobby experience I've ever had. Something really just fun. Because we get caught up into like what's the next card values and all these things because more expensive a card is, the harder it is to get, right? And it was just something just completely just stress free fun.
No,
Just
dude, great hobby
yeah,
experience, and it's a memory, and you meet a childhood hero. Like, what else could you ask for, man? And I'm sure that's some of those keepsakes. You're like, hey, this is a one on one of me and this
yep.
guy.
Yeah, I had it turned to the 1985 page, and those cards are like a quarter.
It's all about the
um,
collection, sir.
yeah,
I
so
was gonna,
that was a lot of fun.
I was going to ask you, as like I said, we're kind of winding down here. Do you think for your collection, do you did you kind of go like the more PC, like player oriented versus like completing sets because of like moving around a lot in your youth?
No, it's I only like one team, so uh even within that team, like I used to collect team sets.
Right?
So I had 1980 to 2007, and that's when I stopped. Because again, look at the 85 set, for example. We all know about the call in the 85 World Series that people want to complain about to this day with Deckinger. Well, why was Todd Worrell the one at first base? Because Bruce Sutter signed with the Braves.
Hmm.
But Bruce Sutter's in the Cardinals 85 team set. So even then, it's kind of like a disconnect from reality. It's because it's always a year late or
Right.
what have you.
Production
So
back then. Right.
it's not even a real accurate depiction of the team of that year. You know, like there's not an 82 Willie McGee card. So it's just I just kind of got away from it because there's always gonna be like players. It's like who is that? Sometimes there's players you're like I don't like that guy. Um, and then as far as like complete set collecting, you know, I'm I don't want Cubs cards in my collection, but that's just me, right? It was on one of the comments in one of my videos, but like I'm not mature enough to collect Cubs cards. So it's definitely a me problem.
You're
You know
like
what I mean?
newsflash. It's my hobby. I collect the way I want to collect.
Yeah. But think about like 1996. I don't want any Braves cards from 96 in my collection. I don't want any Greg Maddux cards because well they beat the Cardinals. Yeah, I don't want any Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz cards because they beat the Cardinals. I can't disassociate my fandom and my card collecting.
Right.
So
And your collection reflects you and your story. And so
yeah,
you're like, look, not my jam. Don't want those guys. Not having it. Fine line. but you get to pursue what you do want to pursue, and that's your Cardinals collection and the Rams of
Yeah.
that era as well.
Yeah.
From like the turn of the century. So good
Yeah.
time.
So I mean, there's so much out there that even if you narrow it down to the most narrowest of things, you're never going to complete it.
Well, I guess we'll just kind of wrap things up on that note, John. I'll certainly include a link to your channel, in the comments below when I post the video. And thank you again for being a part of this. I want to do this again. Hope to meet
Yeah.
you in St. Louis one day, or if you're down here in Dallas, let's talk shop, man.
Yeah. I appreciate you bringing me on. I love your channel. You get your different guests on, and you thought you go talk about just like it's just like a couple of friends just talking.
Yeah.
And I like that. It doesn't get too deep, too serious. You're shouting out birthdays of old football players and things like that. It's showing off Star Wars cards. I think it's great stuff. So um, keep it
We
up.
gotta we
That's for
gotta nerd
sure.
out more often, John. It'll be
Yeah,
good, dude.
yeah. But I really appreciate you having me on.
Well, definitely have a great Sunday, and we'll catch up next time.
Yep.